Hello, welcome back to Japan After Dark.
I'm David.
I'm Alex.
And today we're trying whiskies.
That's right. Today we have an assortment of 5 of the most well-known budget whiskies in Japan.
Cool.
So these are all, I guess you would say, bottom shelf whiskies, but very widely available. Everybody knows these brands. And they are produced by Suntory and Nikka, 2 of the oldest whiskey makers in Japan.
They're all kind of Scotch style, right?
They're all blended whiskeys made from malt and grain. David, are you familiar with any of these?
I often drink the Kakubin
Okay.
in highball. Sometimes I also buy the Torys. We have the Torys here today, right?
Yes, that would be right.
That one?
Here,
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, because this one is very cheap, but good with soda.
Yes. Yeah. So a commonality between all of these is they're all cheap. They're all widely available. Yeah, they are not premium whiskeys in any sense.
I've only had 3 of them before, so I've had the middle 3 before, but I've never had the 2 on the end before. Actually.
Okay, same here. Yeah.
Really. But certainly this one and this one are the 2 most popular, I would guess. 2 most drunk of the 5, I would imagine. Because you often find this one in izakayas or restaurants.
Yeah.
And this one because it's also, they have like label changes and glasses you can get in
Right.
shops and things. So.
But that said, though, the Nikka Black Clear is also quite popular. So we'll get into the details as we go along.
Okay.
I thought today we could start out with the Suntory set here. And to give just a little overview of Suntory as a company. We touched on it briefly in our Akadama episode. Suntory. It is one of the oldest alcohol producers in Japan. Suntory was founded by Tori Shinjiro in Osaka in 1899. And Suntory actually began selling imported wine to the Japanese market.
Like the Akadama we tried, the sweet wine.
Right, yes. Yeah, so from that point, they actually created their own domestic Japanese wine, which was the Akadama wine, kind of inspired by port wines. Yeah. So Akadama has a very sweet taste. In 1923, Suntory created Japan's first malt whiskey distillery.
Like Yamazaki, something like that.
Yeah, so the Yamazaki distillery was made by Suntory in 1923. It was Japan's first distillery. I don't think the Yamazaki whiskey was their first whiskey. I think that came later.
Just like this kind of lower end whiskey.
I'm not sure what their first whiskey was, but I think the Yamazaki whiskey was named after the distillery later on.
But I imagine it would take many generations to get to that level of whiskey that Yamazaki is known as.
Right.
It's like a world champion whiskey now, right? Certainly a high level brand.
Yeah.
So,
And we'll do a video on Yamazaki for sure in the future. It's personally my favorite whiskey. In 2014, Suntory purchased the largest U.S. bourbon producer, Beam.
Jim Beam.
That's right, Jim Beam. Not just Jim Beam, the brand, but the company,
Oh, okay.
Beam Incorporated. Would you like to make a guess at how much they paid for the company?
Is it in the billions or
Yes,
the trillions?
It's in the billions.
Billions.
Yeah.
15 billion?
Very close, 16 billion.
16.
Yeah. So, again, in 2014, Suntory purchased Beam for $16 billion. And from that point on, Jim Beam, an icon of, American whiskeys,
Bourbon, yeah.
is now a Japanese whiskey. It's a Japanese bourbon.
It's very common here, Jim Beam. We can get like Jim Beam highball cans in the supermarkets, and you can get Jim Beam in happy hours and Nami Hodais.
Yep.
And they even had, originally, Leonardo DiCaprio doing the advertisements here, I think. Really? Did you see that?
I didn't, no.
But do you know who they changed it to? They got rid of him and they changed it to a Japanese person.
Really? Who did they choose?
Rola.
Who?
Rola. The girl on TV, Rola. She's like the half Iranian, half Japanese, like TV celebrity. Model girl, Rola.
She is all over TV.
Yeah, she's got like millions of followers on Instagram. And
wow, okay.
She became the Jim Beam mascot kind of in the commercials. What's funny is the commercial, like how the commercial was done, the style and everything, even the actions were the same with her and Leonardo DiCaprio. They just changed the bodies around. So if you go on YouTube and search DiCaprio Jim Beam Japanese commercial, Rola, which is ROLA, Japanese Jim Beam commercial, you'll see it.
I honestly wanted to do this video because I wanted to kind of take a deep dive into the differences here. They are all similarly priced. For example, like this one here, Suntory Red. I've never tried it. You would think if it's marketed as a different brand, it would have to taste at least somewhat different from like Torys.
Sure.
Or from, you know.
The colour looks different, but that could just be the bottle, the glass colour.
Yeah.
Sure. So it certainly has the most like old school, like British looking label, I would say.
It does.
It reminds me of the UK when I look at that.
So I thought we could start with the red today. The Suntory Red whiskey. The Suntory Red was first produced in 1930. It's a blended whiskey. It is 78 proof, or 39% alcohol. It's made from malt and grain. And I bought this bottle. This is obviously a small bottle, like a flask size. I bought this for 280 yen at the supermarket. So that's about $3. I took a look at the description for Suntory Red from Suntory's website, and I did a translation. Basically, they describe red as a whiskey with a red label that brightens up the Japanese dinner table. The amber liquid, aged in barrels, opens up a rich evening. It has been improved year after year with the aim of becoming a leading food wine. So I guess that means it was initially made to pair with food.
Okay.
Like
the dinner table.
Dinner.
Yeah. Okay.
So I guess, something casual.
Yeah.
Not really a bar drink per se. They claim it's now approaching perfection as a Japanese whiskey with the cleanest taste.
For that price?
That's a good price, though.
It's a lot to live up to, that description, I have to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're really selling it.
Before we dig in here, what do you imagine this will taste like? Do you think it'll have like a smoky, like peaty taste, or?
The way they describe it sounds like if it's going to go on the dinner table with food, it'd be like a more easy to drink one.
Yeah.
Like I associate peaty or smoky whiskies with like after dinner, something you'd enjoy after eating. The label, the design of the label, the colour suggests like kind of it's very conservative look to it. So I don't know, I could be very surprised. So do we know what other people thought of it?
Yeah.
So
I'll go ahead and pour us out of it, and then I will read some reviews from other people that I found online. We're doing just a little bit because we got a lot to get to.
And it's a whiskey tasting.
So feel free to give it a whiff as I read.
Sure. Okay.
So from online reviews, people describe the nose as light and fruity, orchard fruits like red apples and green pears, white peaches with hints of vanilla malts. Are you picking up on that?
I don't know why, but it has almost like a cognac smell. The apple thing I get Did you say apples?
Yeah, red apples. I pick up on that too.
Yeah. Pears? I don't know. Vanilla?
No, I don't get the pears.
Caramel or something like sugary, I can smell.
Vanilla malts.
Okay.
I kind of pick up on like
Yeah.
a sweet vanilla.
Definitely apples.
Peaches.
No.
I'm getting a strong whiff of alcohol from this as well.
Mm.
Really zings you in the back of the nose.
It's pretty intense.
Yeah.
Does this match the Lost in Translation slogan Bill Murray says? Like,
I thought he
or-
reviewed Yamazaki.
I guess we'll save that comment for the Yamazaki video. Kato.
Are you ready for the taste?
I'm ready. Are you
Yeah.
ready?
I'll read it out and let me know if you agree or not.
Okay.
Okay, taste. Easy drinking. Less fruity on the tongue. Little bits of caramel. Touches of honey. Orchard fruits. A little spice note dances too. A touch of baking spices backing up some malty flavors.
I get the caramel that you mentioned. I get the honey. As I mentioned from the smell, it was a little sweet. It does have like a zinginess. I don't know about the baking spices.
Ooh!
But when you read that to me, it kind of makes sense. I can see where they're coming from with that.
I totally get the honey.
Yeah.
And I totally get the spices.
You get like the caramel, like a bit sweetness,
Yeah.
sticky.
In the aftertaste.
Yeah.
Initially it's honey, and then I kind of get the like spice sensation, and afterwards the caramel.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
I get the playing around on the tongue.
Honestly, I find that very easy to drink. It's not the most delicious whiskey,
No.
obviously. But yeah, you can drink that straight, no problem.
Again, I would like this like after dinner.
Really? Okay.
Just sip on it after dinner.
Okay, so you wouldn't agree that this would be a
I don't know.
dinner
I
whiskey?
don't know what food it would go with.
I don't either.
I can't imagine anything it would go with.
It's too sweet. I gotta say though, they did a pretty good job with the branding on this.
Yeah, yeah. It has kind of old school, old fashioned, like comforting,
Yeah,
comfortable thing.
I think the branding really picks up on the vibe of the flavor.
For people in England, this would be like something we would like open on the mantelpiece on like a cold day with like the fire burning or something.
That's a nice image. With a lot of whiskeys, as you swallow, you get like a strong burning sensation. It kind of comes up through your nose a little.
This one, not so much.
Not at
No,
all.
no.
Not for me.
No.
On the tongue, yes,
Mm.
but not as it goes down. Let's keep the reviews for the whiskeys today. Add a simple yes or no, buy or pass, or like or dislike. You know.
Oh, like.
Me too. Yeah. According to our online review, the finish. A little alcohol here with some black pepper and caramel and menthol. The fruity flavors dance in and out for a medium to long finish.
Menthol is interesting. Menthol. I do feel something in my nose.
I mean, I can kind of get the sensation in my throat, but
Isn't that with all whiskies?
Yeah.
Like alcohol
yeah.
coming up your nose kind of thing.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's a very interesting whiskey. Okay, next we have our Torys Classic, again produced by Suntory. This was first on the market in 1946. It's another blended whiskey, 74 proof, so 37% alcohol. It was priced at 304 yen. This one being a little more expensive than this one, but I mean we're talking
Matter of a few yen.
a couple of yen. Yeah, another difference. This one is red is a higher proof than Torys.
From the little I know about these two, is this one more for being drunk like neat, and this one is more for highball or mixing?
That's a very good question.
Because that's the only way I've had this one.
Yeah, the description for Suntory Red, it doesn't mention how to drink it at all.
Okay.
It just says with dinner. So, I don't know, I just think like neat or on the rocks. Whereas Torys, like it has a long history of being advertised as like a highball drink. So again, a little blurb from the Suntory site about Torys. It is characterized by a gentle, sweet aroma and a round, smooth taste. Its well-balanced flavor can be enjoyed not only with a highball, but also on the rocks or with water. A little bit of history. In 1950, so 4 years after this was first introduced to the market, Suntory opened some Torys whiskey bars in Tokyo and Osaka.
I wonder if it's like the Ibis beer bars, beer halls that opened also around that time.
That would make sense, yeah.
Yeah.
Companies tend to...
Like their own bar to sell their product. Or,
I was going to say, companies tend to copy each other. If one company does something, their competitor will do the same thing.
Ibis actually still have the Ibis bar going today.
Really?
In Haneda Airport, or I saw one in Hiroshima, so they're around Tokyo. So they sell whiskey and other things too. I'm imagining this Torys bar was like designed to like get this whiskey out into the public market.
I'd imagine that, or maybe to push the image of it being like a highball whiskey.
Okay. Or just to make whiskey more popular in Japan, maybe. Like a going out drink, which I imagine it probably wasn't so much at the time. But
I mean, these days highballs are insanely popular.
Yeah.
That wasn't always the case. I know it kind of has its ebbs and flows with different generations.
So this one's called Torys after Mr. Torisa, who started the business.
I believe so, yes. Oh.
So his name was spelled T-O-R-I-I.
Yeah.
That's T-O-R-Y. So it's kind of like a Western play on his name or something.
Yeah.
I guess it looks easier to read, like two eyes. It's not so catchy on the bottle. So
even their company name Suntory uses T-O-R-Y as well.
Whenever I think of Torys whiskey, I think of like the little bartender dude on the
that's kind of a classic Torys whiskey image.
Yeah.
A little short bartender dude.
It's got like a little tuxedo on or something like that, and it's got like a square body and
very like 50s design style animation.
This one occasionally
like it reminds me of like old like Chuck Jones, Tom and Jerry cartoons.
Yeah, that's right.
Specifically that style. Our friends online reviewing Torys, what do they have to say? For the nose, varnish, wine or raisin, some citrus, light malt sugar, corn sugar, touch of chocolate maybe. Not much happening. Some green apple.
Sounds like a lot's happening from what they said before. Is that the same person's comment, or is that a combination of comments?
That's just from one person. This is a very familiar smell to me.
Yeah. I always just drink it. I never analyze it like this. So. Now he said that, I get the varnish, and I kind of get the raisin a little bit.
I picked up on the raisin first.
Citrus, not so much.
Kind of, I do.
What kind of citrus? Oranges or?
Something stronger than an orange, like a lemon or something.
Yeah, the raisin is the strongest thing that I can associate this with on that list.
Me too.
Yeah. How about the palate?
Palate. Okay. The palate. Sweet corn sugar. Wax. Apple. Lightly peppery. Tiny bit of pineapple.
That's some pretty impressive palate if you're catching a tiny bit of pineapple.
Tiny bit of apple.
After all of those things. Cheers.
Immediately, totally different taste from Suntory Red.
Yeah.
Sweet corn sugar.
The sweet corn I can understand.
Me too.
Yeah. Now I really focus on it.
It is sweet.
It is sweet, that's true, yeah. And it does have that kind of corn sweetness. Do you taste any citrus in it?
No, it's only on the nose. I'm not really getting any apple either. It's sweet corn. I understand the wax.
Do you?
It's like a waxy texture, kind of, on your tongue.
Okay. It's not as syrupy or sweet as the red. On the tongue, I mean. It's got that, we said like a sweet corn sweetness, but not a sickly sweetness, like apple syrup that one has.
Texture-wise, it's like I licked a candle.
Yeah. Yeah, I can get that.
Like, there's no flavor really associated with it.
I find this harder to drink than the red one.
I prefer the red.
Do you too?
To be honest.
I think this is the first time I've ever drunk this not in a highball.
Really?
To be honest.
Straight?
Yeah. Certainly never, I've never drunk it without ice until now.
The finish. Peppery, hot, waxy. Bit of vanilla. Rubbing alcohol.
Rubbing alcohol? Do you mean like you would sanitize a wound with or something?
I think that's what they meant. Yeah, like ethanol or something.
If war breaks out, I know how to sanitize my wounds, I guess.
Just grab the Torys. Grab the closest bottle of Torys.
Yeah.
I agree
while
on
sawing my leg off, I can pour it on and also.
Yeah, the Torys guy, he's not a bartender, he's actually a physician.
He's a war surgeon, okay, in the field. I always thought there was something dodgy about that guy. Yeah.
I agree with the hot waxy.
The waxy finish. Yeah.
Bit of vanilla? No. Rubbing alcohol. Not really. Not for the finish. On the rocks.
It's really interesting drinking it neat.
Yeah.
Like a drink, a whiskey you've had many, many times, but you've never had neat. It's completely different to how it tastes in a highball.
Yeah.
Or even mixed with water or something like that. I feel like this would be better on the rocks.
I think so too.
As it is.
I think the waxy nature of it might be subdued more by...
Yeah, that might take that away.
By ice. Yes or no, Torys? Good or bad?
Yes. On the rocks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Me too.
I wouldn't drink it again neat. Or choose to drink it again neat. So.
Yeah, I buy Torys for highballs occasionally. Alright, so next we have probably if I were to guess, the most well-known whiskey out of these 5 on the table.
Probably one of the most well-known whiskies in Japan.
Probably,
say.
yeah.
And probably the most drunk in bars and restaurants.
It's so well-known that
it's right here.
Suntory doesn't even put the name of the whiskey on the bottle.
Yeah, they just call it Suntory whiskey.
Yeah.
But they have other whiskies too. So
yeah.
So this is their signature whiskey?
It's, I would say, from their lower end whiskies.
Yeah. Right.
Their flagship, I guess.
Flagship.
Their most well known.
Like everyone can afford whiskey. Yeah.
Yeah, so this one is called the Kakubin whiskey. Suntory Kakubin. So kaku in Japanese, the kanji is right here, means square.
Yep.
Bin means bottle in Japanese. So the name of the whiskey is actually named after the bottle. Very iconic design, I guess. Kind of has like some people call it like a honeycomb design or like a turtle shell design. I've always thought of like, I don't know, like stained glass window.
I was thinking exactly the same thing. Yeah. So like a classic, like medieval or old school British kind of glass window or something like that.
That's the vibe I always get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That like crest there is very like British. It says from the House of Suntory, like the Tudor family or something like that.
As you can see, since 1937. So this was first put on the market in 1937. It is 80 proof. So 40% alcohol or so.
And here it's being advertised as a highball whiskey as well.
Yes.
So. But if you go to many izakayas or restaurants now, you'll often see kaku highball on the menu. So kaku highball is this. They're using this whiskey.
Right.
In
Yes.
the highball.
So.
And it will come in this glass as well, usually with this label.
Yeah. So it's Kakubin highball, but many people just call it kaku.
Kaku highball. Yeah.
Or if you want the highball version, kaku highball or kaku high. Okay. So. Again, Suntory Kakubin, blended whiskey from malt and grain, and this is the most expensive of the Suntory whiskies from today. Actually, the most expensive whiskey
of all five
on the table today. At 578 yen.
Quite a lot more. So nearing twice the price of the first two.
So this was like what, 280? To 578 yen. So big jump.
And you see the flask actually also has the kind of the stained glass kind of style of the bottle too.
So again, this is the smaller bottle size. Again, it is 180.
Yep.
Same. So a little blurb from Suntory's website, translated into English. Okay, Suntory Kakubin. It is a whiskey with a sweet aroma, thick and rich flavor, and a dry taste. Made from a well-balanced blend of bourbon barrels from Yamazaki and Hakushu distilleries. Yeah, it's a mix of some Yamazaki distillery whiskey and Hakushu, which is another famous Suntory distillery. Yeah, I had no idea about that. That's interesting.
Yeah. Makes it sound more complex than it is because it's sold everywhere. Interesting.
Okay.
Should we crack open? Do you want to describe the smell?
Let's do it.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so again, this is a review from online. Okay, for the nose, very floral. A bit of malt and honey, and a hint of alcohol. Not very descriptive.
It's the simplest description yet, I think. Yeah. So, you mentioned floral, malt and honey.
Floral is the thing that sticks out the most, because that would make it quite different from the other two.
I disagree with the hint of alcohol comment. This is like burning my nostrils.
Yeah.
It smells more alcoholic than the other two, to me.
It smells, in my opinion, this smells more like what a whiskey should smell like than Torys or...
Yeah, it smells more like a conventional whiskey.
It smells more mature. For that reason, I can understand why they kind of market the Kaku highball the way they do. It's definitely a sweet smelling whiskey, but not too sweet. I think the alcohol smell of it and the sweetness of it kind of balance each other out pretty well. But still, like, it stings your nose as you inhale.
It does.
Yeah. This one did not do that.
It does not, no. Yeah, that one had more like a sweeter, like a cognac, brandy, kind of a more mild smell. This one has a very up your nose alcohol smell.
And again, this one is 80 proof, so it is the strongest of the three Suntories.
Smells stronger.
Yeah.
How about the palate?
Okay, the palate. Mild honey, a tad grainy, and a tad of alcohol.
A tad alcoholic? Tad alcohol?
Yeah. Again, not very descriptive. Wow. That is so much different than the other two.
Yeah.
First of all, it packs a punch.
Yeah, it's stronger.
These two don't have.
Yeah.
And it's got, I don't know, there's like a sweetness or like a tanginess to it.
For me, the smell is more alcoholic than the taste. I don't know why. It went down easier than the smell for me. It hit me up the nose, but in the mouth it's not so aggressive.
That's very lovely. Again, I'm comparing to Torys and Red.
Tastes more like whiskey you should taste, I think.
Yeah.
You can definitely drink this neat, no problem.
Yeah. This is a very non-smoky whiskey too. This I can see drinking on the rocks.
On the rocks would be good. Yeah.
Obviously the highball. I can drink this neat too, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, just kind of sipping on it, reading a book or something. It would go really well.
Again, it's comforting in a way. Like
Yeah.
the first one, in a different kind of way to the first one.
Yeah.
First one is more spicious, fruity, sweet.
Yeah.
This one is more just like a very smooth scotch that you can just sip on, as you said.
Yeah, it's more velvety.
Velvety.
It's less waxy.
None of the waxiness in
This
that
one was waxy.
Yeah.
This one was fruity. This one is velvety.
Clean.
Yeah. I would also say this is the most versatile of the three.
Oh, you can drink it so many ways.
Yeah.
You can do many things with it.
Yeah.
You can make a cocktail of this, I think. That'd be alright too.
Yeah.
Like, you can do lots of things with this. So.
Yeah. I mean, also it's the most expensive of the three. That's really cool. I've kind of gained more respect for Kaku. So, Suntory Kakubin. Yes or no?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah. Me too. Okay, so we are halfway through our whiskeys.
Just over halfway, yeah. We have 2 left, so
time for a snack break.